Before I get to my immediate argument, I'd like to answer Representative Pashinsky's argument about the gas wells. Right now, those gas wells are getting inspected about 3 or 4 times a day on, or McCarter, I'm sorry. Those gas wells are getting inspected 3 or 4 times a day. If that's not enough inspections, I don't know what is. To get to the point of this argument, having been in law enforcement with the Air Force and worked both with an Inspector General and the Air Force Office of Inspector or Special Investigations, which is another independent agency, one example I can give you is that as an airman, I busted a full-bird colonel for using government aircraft to bring antiques back to the United States on the government's dime for his wife's antique shop. Within a half an hour, I was listening to my supervisor on the telephone with somebody up the chain, and I knew what the question was going to be or what the call was going to be about. As soon as he hung up, I just told him, I said, the first person that tells me to drop this gets charged with obstruction. Now I'm a little bit different. Found out later that another one of the people that was working military customs had actually tried to bust him for the same thing, and it got overturned. The arguments about this being a solution in search of a problem, it brings back another saying that Aristotle once answered in Aristotle, what's your definition of the word nothing? It's that which rocks dream about, was his response. If we don't hear about it, which I had never heard about the other airmen having tried to bust that individual, and if I hadn't gone straight to the Office of Special Investigation, which is an independent agency, and they took over the investigation and had that independence, we'd have never heard about it. I like the idea, and there is a need to have, when it becomes the investigatory process of the executive branch, if you want an example, that's one very good example. And if you're not hearing about it, it's because if you don't have somebody willing to stand up, you're not going to get information about those types of wrongdoing. I commend Representative Fee on her legislation. I think it's a great piece of legislation. It's long past due. I also commend Governor Casey for getting the ball going in the first place. Thank you.